Hey everyone, so today's video is going to be on the Forge. I wanted to make this video for two reasons. One, we have a forging event coming up here, I think in 2 days. And this is definitely the easiest event or one of the easiest events to get, a free epic book. When I say free, I say that in quotations. But easiest way to get an epic book, I should say. You do that by forging gear in the forge. The second reason I wanted to make this video, someone reached out to me in Discord and asked me if I could make one. So that's what we're doing. So a couple things to know about the forge first, okay? You have two separate options here. One is 4 to 6 star gear availability and then 5 to 6 star. So the 4 to 6 star is all with these purple pieces. And then the 5 to 6 are always your gold pieces, kind of like epic and legendary heroes. You have the gold for the legendary and then the purple for the epic. On top of that, you have a bunch of different sets here that do different things, and I'll get into that in a second. And then lastly, you have these additional materials that allow you to increase your chances of getting the type of selected gear that you want. So all of these things play a part in how good your gear is going to be out of the forge. Now, if you ever want to figure out where to get these items, like if you say, oh, I want to forge more Shark Tyrant stuff, where do I get these pieces? You just come over here and you click on it. So this can be achieved by doing your guild boss each week. On top of that, this is sometimes a reward for placing higher up in the rally events, but I would just bank on getting stuff from guild boss. This one is, guild versus environment, so on and so forth. But yeah, so you can figure out where to get that stuff just by clicking on it. These items here that enhance, the chance of you getting a better, a higher rarity star piece, like from 5 to 6 star. Star stones, Raritas to get legendary gear. These target type items are really nice to pinpoint the type of select piece that you want, whether it's a weapon, a helmet, boots, yada, yada, yada. And then these Qualis stones, they enhance your chance of getting a nice substat on your piece. Substats are really, really important to your gear. So a game mode that they actually introduced not too long ago is something called Storm Duel. So a lot of people, I don't think, do Storm Duel, but they should. And I'll make a video on Storm Duel probably sometime this weekend to explain the thought process. But the rewards in Storm Duel are actually really, really good, and I think fairly easy to get when it comes to forging gear. Now, I know if you're first starting out in the game, a lot, finishing this is going to be tough. But if you have a mid to end game account, you should be able at least to get to this level 12, which is going to give you some really nice materials. And on top of that, you're getting, Qualis chests, you're getting 10 Raritas a week from this, and you're getting 10 Star Stones. So this is the best place to get those enhancement materials to make your gear better. So I did want to point that out. You really should do Storm Duel if you want to have the chance to get the best kind of gear out there. Okay, so now with all of that being said, what we're going to do now is we're just going to talk about the different gear sets. We're going to talk about the ones that I think are best. And then I'm going to talk about how I end up using my materials, which are harder to come by, whenever I forge gear. Okay? So first things first. This Shark Tyrant gear is the easiest material to come by because you're doing it every single day and every week, with Guild Boss. That's why I have all of this stuff built up. This set on its own is okay. What it has going for it is it's a 2-piece set, so it's a nice filler set, right? The 10% crit rate can be beneficial to certain damage dealers, and then the additional 5% attack is nice. The thing that I find myself doing, though, is I've always been able to find enough crit rate on pieces and not enough crit damage. And the fact that this only gives 5% attack instead of 15 like a warrior set, I don't find myself using this set a whole lot. On paper, it looks good. But whenever you get to the point where I am in my account, it's much easier to get crit rate on things than it is crit damage. So I think if they change this to 10% crit damage and 5% attack damage, this might be a really, really nice set. But for now, what I end up doing is just I forge this set during forge events without using any of these materials and just use this to finish the event. That's ultimately what I do. And if I get some nice pieces from it, whatever, I'll save them and I'll keep them in my gear inventory. But if not, then I just sell them. So that's what I use with this piece. Now, Death Hurricane is just a souped-up version of Avarice Set. So Avarice Set is still very prevalent in the meta. Any AoE attackers are going to use Avarice. So if you can get a nice Death Hurricane set, that is fantastic. This type of material is by far the hardest to come by. It's in Ruin of the Gods. You get it, each guild versus environment based on the rank, based on the floor level that you get to in guild versus environment. So this is definitely one of the harder sets to come by. And it's a bummer because this is a really good set. I only have one usable set right now, and even then it's not that great. So just goes to show how hard it is to get, enough pieces to complete these 4-piece sets. That's the other thing. A 4-piece set is really, really hard to achieve with this forge. So Summit Sojourner is a souped-up version of Cursed Set, which can be farmed from Queen of Tides. All it does is give 15 additional speed on top of that 4-piece set, where Cursed was just that 35% chance to launch a bonus basic ability. So Cursed is more of a guild versus environment, a PvE set. There are some niche uses of Cursed or Summit Sojourner in PvP, but this is also a fairly weak set. It's outclassed by a couple other sets, like Assassin and things like that. So even though this set is better than Cursed, Cursed is more of a a niche piece nowadays in the game. So this set is okay, but similar to Shark Tyrant, I really would not utilize these materials too much unless I was looking for a specific piece. So Thunder Punisher is also kind of a niche set. It's got a really cool ability where you get 30% crit damage at the start of each round. This is definitely a PvE set, and it kind of screams, guild versus environment. This set is most ideal on a character maybe like Jacob, who is a guild boss hero, and he's used in a lot of boss comps in guild versus environment. I don't think I've ever used a single one of these materials to try and get this, to be honest. This is also a very difficult material to get in the game just because it's faction challenges, and right now this game mode is really overtuned. So a lot of people really don't play it. I'm not very consistent with it myself. This Holy Avenger set, I think, is the worst one. I don't think you should ever waste any materials on this set. The thing is this is like its own unique thing. You don't use this on any other area in the game. So, I mean, if it stacks up, you just forge the pieces, and if you get usable ones, whatever. But with it being a 4-piece set, I'm sure it's going to take you a long time to get there. And like I said, it's really not that great of a set. So these bottom 3 sets, I have the most materials on because these are from Storm Duel, which I talked about earlier. It's something you really should do if you want to get good forge pieces. But the thing about these 3 sets is they all share the same materials. So you're kind of put in a conundrum where you have to pick between them. So all 3 of these sets are actually pretty good. This Cursed Snare set is definitely more niche than the other 2. This is a PvE set, and it's mainly used on like bosses to do speedruns. There's a member of the community who uses this set a lot, and it really cuts off on time for your dungeons. I really don't care about that, like 15, 20 seconds difference or whatever. It's whatever to me. So I don't waste my materials on this Cursed Snare set, but I don't think it's a bad option. It might become more relevant the more game modes that they put in Awaken Chaos Era. So that is something to watch out for. So Firmament Hunter has 2 things going for it. One, it is a 2-piece set, right, which is really easy to fill in gaps of other sets on heroes. And on top of that, it is a better version of the best set in the game, which is Raider set or Speed set. So Firmament Hunter is literally Speed set, but you're adding 10% focus onto your heroes as well. Now, this is really, really nice because, and probably the best place to use your materials on, because having a speed set that gives you speed and then being able to put a substat chance of speed, like that is what you're aiming for. This set can be used on damage dealers. It can be used on debuffers. It can be used on tanks. It can be used on, people that literally just need to go first. It is the most universal set, I think, in the entire game. And this is the one that people should be using most of these materials on. And then Soul Ripper is another 4-piece set, but it's an upgraded version of Assassin set. And I like to use Assassin on a lot of different people. I think Assassin is the best damage dealing set in the game. That's just my opinion. There's definitely arguments for Avarice set. But Assassin set having an upgraded 15% additional attack is really nice. So this is also worth your materials, in my opinion. So these 2 sets are the best ones to use material on, hands down. The thing I will say, though, and this is something that I want to go to now, is these materials, I think a good general rule of thumb is if you have a lot of, forge materials, I would forge, maybe 100 different pieces, right? Forge 100 pieces, see if you get anything usable out of there. And then what you can do is you can go to your heroes and see, what kind of stuff you're missing, right? So this Shark Tyrant set, right? So I have helmets, right? And okay helmets, like they're not even that good, right? Because I probably got them a while ago. And I have 1 piece of armor. So if I had a character that was using this helmet and I had pieces, all over here, and, I had a chest, but I was looking for a necklace, I would then go into the forge, and that's what I would do. I would put, a necklace blueprint on there. I would look for maybe attack percentage substat, crit damage, and then put a rare toss and a stone and forge like 10 pieces or whatever, and maybe even forge 1 piece at a time to see if I could get that piece to finish my set. That's what I would do in regards to using these materials because they're rarer and they're your best bet at getting the piece that you want. So that's the way that I would utilize the forge, and I think is the best way from an efficiency standpoint, is Forge a couple of different pieces here and there without using any of these rare materials. Forge your pieces that are definitely going to come, just by playing the game. And then after you've forged enough pieces, look through, your inventory and see what you need to complete sets on specific heroes. So that's kind of my little guide on the Forge, guys. I would definitely, if you're a newer player or anything like that, even middle or end game, like Firmament Hunter is going to be your safest bet for sure. Soul Ripper is going to really enhance, the attack on some of these damage dealers that you have that are already utilizing good assassin sets. And then the Death Hurricane stuff is really great for, again, your AoE damage dealers that probably have a good Avarice set, but if you can give them an additional 15% attack, that's just going to make them hit so much harder. So I hope this little guide helped you. It's just brief, to the point, what I use the Forge for. And, happy forging.